So one of the plugins I got recently from the Black Friday sales was the Submission Audio PreFire. Something I was really looking forward to getting for about a year. Now I forgot when it released. It was roughly just a little over a year ago. And I think what really drew me into it was the idea of having so many different flavors of preamps that I've either seen, touched with hardware, but never been able to really use in the kind of a apples to apples kind of comparison. Like, I'm used to using things like Shep's Omni-channel has a pretty good preamp section, but the flavors aren't so diverse. I mean, they have this odd even harmonic thing going on, but I don't know. It does seem a little bit more left to be desired, so to speak. And of course, I've got plenty of different forms of preamps through a bunch of the UAD stuff that I do own. But I think the interesting thing with what Submission Audio is doing with their preamp is they're using kind of a neural amp modeling type technology, NAM. So machine learning based kind of modeling of those preamp characteristics as opposed to algorithmic, which on paper, it's supposed to give a more realistic kind of capture of how these preamps behave. And honestly, I think in the play around I've had with the plugin, I've been enjoying it quite a bit. Now, whenever I work my projects, I tend to use a decent stack of different types of saturation, chiefly tape saturation, transformer saturation, as well as saturation from different kind of FET type circuitries, from like analog emulations or through compressors like how the 1176 is. It just adds a lot of dirt. And so today, just to kind of have an examination of the different kind of models that are available on the plugin, we're going to be looking at this track called RFL. It's unreleased by the band Pitcher back in the UK. My friends over there in that band have kindly allowed me to use the tracks today. So let's have a look at the current processing that I have in place for the vocals. I'm going to jump around through different types of instruments, the drums and the guitars as well, because I am trying to make the guitars sound a little bit thicker. But so let's have a listen to the current processing I've applied for the vocals. Now, what I've done for the vocals is mainly a little bit of EQ, de-essing, some soothe to control the mids, upper mids, compression, some FET, some opto, running through a Studer, and some Casrock True Iron for that transformer saturation. And let's have a looky-loo.
Red fairy lights, talk in my bedroom, keep my heart alive. Right, start a fight with the silence and the window sunlight. Dark nights bring to light the truths and trials, but all the while the brain doesn't quite feel the same set of words again and again. Oh.
Now, in the context of the full mix, I feel like there could be a little bit more grit added to it. I've stopped short of using the captator because I think the captator has always been kind of the bread and butter, I think, for vocal preamp saturation distortion, but it does tend to get a little bit harsh, and maybe I think the program material just doesn't call for something like the captator. But let's listen to the vocals in the context of the mix.
Red fairy lights, talk in my bedroom, keep my heart alive. Right, start a fight with the silence and the window sunlight. Dark nights bring to light the truths and trials, but all the while the brain doesn't quite feel the same set of words again and again. Oh.
Yeah, it sounds pretty decent though. Let's have a see in what we could probably take out of the current processing and replace it with PreFire. So I'm probably just going to check out the tape saturation and the transformer saturation. Let's stick PreFire in. Now, PreFire has a bunch of different models of different preamps. The PreFire has modeled using kind of NAM style captures, reminiscent of how Quad Cortex does their captures. And NAM, if you are aware, is an open source form of what that thing that Neural does with their captures. And from what I've read, hearing it about Reddit and some sources, they've said that Submission Audio, correct me if I'm wrong. Submission Audio has worked with the founder of NAMM to kind of develop something that's akin to what the algorithm and kind of the machine learning process is for a typical NAMM capture. It's got 11 different types of preamps. The first one, the N3VE Neve, this one, I believe, is based on a model of the Neve 1073LB module. The TGI is the TGI, the Chandler TG2. I've had a little bit of play of this back in one of the studios I've worked in, but never really got a good chance to really take it through its paces with vocals, and especially. The Universe is based off the UA 610 tube console, so a bit of a warmer, richer, easier to kind of like break up kind of like preamp. The Manley Vox box. Focusrite ISA 430 Mark II channel strip. The Gemmel is based on the GML 2020. The Millennium is based on the Millennia HV3D. This one's the API 512C preamp. The B43 is based on a recreation of a Neve preamp as well. The Germanium is the Chandler Germanium preamp. The Mida is Midas preamp that's used pretty much in the kind of popular live consoles. And yeah, that's all 11 preamps that's on it. We're just gonna cycle through a couple of different preamps and kind of find out what we like and see how we can adapt that across the project. Let's solo up the vocals again, just the main Vox, and we'll have it here. The controls, if it's not already apparent, it's fairly simple. There's drive, there's a mix knob, high pass, low pass on the entire output signal, as well as an in and out gain at the bottom that you can have. I believe that's a link for in and out, a polarity switch, and a bypass switch. So listen to the vocals again, and we're gonna loop this tiny little section over here. Cool.
Red fairy lights, talk in my bedroom, keep my heart alive. Right, start a fight with the silence and the windows sunlight. Dark nights bring to light the truths and trials, but all the while the brain doesn't quite feel the same set of words again and again. Oh,
yeah, I mean that's gonna sound a little bit harsh, pushing it up to 10, but you can start understanding how the preamp circuits start to behave. I quite like this Neve preamp in particular. It's just adds nice weight.
Red fairy lights, talk in my
a little bit of roundness on the top end.
Red fairy lights, talk in my bedroom, keep my heart alive.
Try the next one.
Right, start a fight with the silence and the windows sunlight. Dark nights
Yeah,
bring
TGI is quite a bit hotter than the Neve. It sounds nice as well.
Red fairy lights, talk in my bedroom, keep my heart alive. Right, start a fight with the silence and the windows sunlight. Dark nights bring to light the truths and trials, but all the while the Red fairy lights, talk in my bedroom, keep my heart alive. Right, start a fight with the silence and the windows sunlight.
You can tell it's quite a bit darker than the previous two.
Red fairy lights, talk in my bedroom, keep my heart alive. Right, start a fight with the silence and the windows sunlight.
But a Vox box. I've never been a big fan of the Manley Vox box preamps. I think just to get a little bit of character out of it, you got to push it. But as soon as you start pushing it, it starts breaking up way too much. So let's dial it in from the bottom and see how it kind of behaves as we turn it up.
Red fairy lights, talk in my bedroom, keep my heart alive. Right, start a fight with the silence and the windows sunlight. Dark nights bring to light the truths and trials, but all the while the brain doesn't quite.
It's got a slightly harsher characteristic. Mic drop. It's got a slightly harsher characteristic in my opinion. Not the biggest fan, but I'm pretty sure there's a pretty good mix reason to use this in certain cases.
Red fairy lights, talk in my bedroom, keep my heart alive. Right, start a fight with the silence and the windows sunlight. Dark nights bring to light the truths and trials, but all the while the brain doesn't quite feel the same set of.
Really nice thick saturation. I quite like this this Focusrite ISA model. I think it punches through a little bit of high mids, which I reckon would be pretty good to cut through a denser mix.
Red fairy lights stuck in my bedroom, keep
And
my
it stays fairly musical, pushing up.
Red fairy lights stuck in my bedroom, keep my heart alive. Right, start a fight.
The next one, Focusrite.
Red fairy lights stuck in my bedroom, keep my
GML.
heart alive. Right, start a fight with the silence and the windows, sunlight. Dark nights bring to light the truths and trials, but all the while
Millennium.
the brain doesn't quite feel the same set of words again. Red fairy lights stuck in my bedroom, keep my heart alive. Right, start a fight with the silence and
That's plenty clean. The Millennium, let's try the API.
Red fairy lights stuck in my bedroom, keep my heart alive. Right, start a fight with the silence and the windows, sunlight. Dark nights bring to light the truths and trials, but all
Yeah, that
the
drives up pretty fast. Still quite good, nice and warm, but punchy as they say with APIs.
Red fairy lights stuck in my bedroom,
43.
keep my heart alive. Right, start a fight with the silence and the windows, sunlight. Dark nights bring to light the truths and trials, but all the while the red fairy lights stuck in my bedroom, keep my heart alive. Right, start a fight with the silence and the windows, sunlight. Dark nights bring to light the truth.
The Germanium, compared to, I mean, they're both channelers, both the TGI and the Germanium are channelers, but this one breaks up in a way that is a little bit harsher near the top.
Red fairy lights stuck in my bedroom, keep my heart alive. Right, start a fight with the silence and the windows, sunlight.
I mean, you'd be the judge on that one. Probably not my cup of tea with that one if you're going to go a little bit hard on it.
Red fairy lights stuck in my bedroom, keep my
But a Midas.
Red fairy lights stuck in my bedroom, keep my heart alive. Right, start a fight with the silence and the windows, sunlight. Dark nights bring to light the truths and trials, but all the while the brain doesn't quite feel the same set of words again and again. Oh,
I mean, that's all right, I think. I'm back on Neve.
red fairy lights stuck in my bedroom, keep my heart alive. Right, start a fight with the
Maybe let's try it out within the context of the mix. I mean, we can just keep going around saying, like, this preamp is nice or the other preamp is nice, but if we don't use it within the mix, it doesn't really matter because we're not listening to music in solo. Let's turn back on.
Red fairy lights stuck in my bedroom, keep my heart alive. Right, start a fight with the silence and the windows, sunlight. Dark nights bring to light the truths and trials, but all the while the brain doesn't quite feel the same set of words again. Red fairy lights stuck in my bedroom, keep my heart alive. Right, start a fight with the silence and the windows, sunlight. Dark nights bring to light the truths and trials, but all the while the brain doesn't quite feel the same set of words again and again. Oh, red fairy lights stuck in my bedroom, keep my heart alive. Right, start a fight with the silence and the windows, sunlight. Dark nights bring to light the truths and trials, but all the while the brain doesn't quite feel the same set of words again and again. Oh, red fairy lights stuck in my bedroom, keep my heart alive. Right, start a fight with the silence and the windows, sunlight.
Quite like the TGI. The Chandler TGI one sounds pretty great. It retains clarity and adds a little bit of that sizzle that I kind of want for this to cut through a rock mix, because I think a big part of what makes and how to make a good vocal stand out well within a rock mix is to both glue in but have enough heat to kind of cut through what you're competing with, which is distorted guitars typically and a bit of a louder and more energetic drums.
Red fairy lights stuck in my bedroom, keep my heart alive.
A bit of
Right,
mix.
start a fight with the silence and the windows, sunlight. Dark nights bring to light the truths and trials, but all the while the brain doesn't quite feel the same set of words again and again. Oh,
That's pretty good. I do like that. So how about we chuck back on that True Iron, get a little bit of the transformer saturation going.
red fairy lights stuck in my bedroom, keep my heart alive. Right, start a fight with the silence and the windows, sunlight. Dark nights bring to light the truths and trials, but all the while the brain doesn't quite feel the same set of words again and again. Oh, red fairy lights stuck in my bedroom, keep my heart alive. Right, start a fight with the silence and the windows, sunlight. Dark nights bring to light the truths and trials, and you don't know what you're trying for. Maybe try.
Yeah, I think the vocals is sounding nice with the PreFire and True Iron put on, with a touch of tape saturation up here.
Right, start a fight with the silence out the window, sunlight. Dark nights bring to light the truths and trials, but all the while the brain doesn't quite feel the same.
Cool. All right, let's see how the PreFire interacts with other stuff. Let's have a look at drums. We're gonna put it on the master bus here. Got an API already in here. Let's put it somewhere here. PreFire, solo up the drums. The germanium has kind of a nice low end kind of like size to it that I quite a big fan of just now. Like, you know, some of the like the API and the Midas was it felt more transparent in that sense, but the germanium had a cool characteristic I liked. Pull down the output gain a little bit.
All the while the brain doesn't quite feel the same set of lights stuck in my bedroom, keep my heart alive. Right, start a fight with the silence out the window, sunlight. Dark nights bring to light the truths and trials, but all the while the brain doesn't quite feel the same set of words again and again. Oh, lights stuck in my bedroom, keep my heart alive. Right, start a fight with the silence out the window, sunlight. Dark nights bring to light the truths and trials, but all the while the brain doesn't quite feel the same set of words again and again. Oh,
Probably dial it back a little bit, honestly.
in the sunlight, dark nights bring to light the truths and trials, but all the while the brain doesn't quite feel the same set of words again and again. Oh,
Cool. Big fan of that on drums. I think it's a really cool way to just instantly add and kind of cycle through the types of saturation and different flavors real quick. And I think a great thing of kind of, I guess, working with plugins and in this case saturators and flavors of known brands and types of saturation is that you become quickly acquainted with the different kind of the flavors that are famous and ones that are often referenced by recording engineers in the past who've, you know, have a lot more outboard kind of workflow than what we tend to have nowadays here at home and when we're working in the box. So I think tools like this that try to emulate to a great degree, making it sound good, emulate these type of saturators and preamps is beneficial for us to have a good frame of reference when we make decision making in terms of what kind of preamps work for what type of material. So like now I kind of know that if I use PreFire and I chucked on the Chandler and the drums, I'd get a nicer bit of a thump to my low end and just a little bit better impact. Mind you, of course, it is going to sound slightly louder than without the saturation. You can definitely compensate for the gain at the end, which I think I guess is one of the weaknesses of this plugin is that there isn't a proper gain compensation as you turn up the saturation, kind of running it as a drive and not just also pushing up the gain. So getting used to this mic thing. Anyway, I'm quite happy with the way the drums and the vocals sound like now with the PreFire added on top to it. Let's have a listen to, bass and see how that sounds like with a bit of PreFire. I'm going to have a listen to what we already have on the bass at the moment. Low key, I might just add our bass on this. Needs a little bit more oomph from the bottom. Just take out the LA2A, put on our bass. Just need a little bit more.
You're trying for, maybe try going diagonal and the
Cool. That sounds good. All right. Let's go and find PreFire. I'm going to put it post the soothe over there just so it doesn't interfere with the bass channel. That is wild. So I think for me the TGI is just like it feels like the first Neve model, but it's a bit more kind of upper mid aggression to it. This one's a bit more classic, rounded sound. And hell, I think even the UA610 model Universe sounds pretty good on bass.
and you don't know what you're trying for. Maybe the fruits entice you, be stuck to the floor, but your intake doesn't change at all, and you're so scared that you go nowhere. Change your seats, jump off your hair, and I guess we've all been somewhere like that, 'cause it all goes somewhere.
Alright, we could float with that. Alright, let's jump into the guitars. Have a listen to what we've got so far. I wanted to kind of, one of the feedbacks I had earlier on with this mix was that the guitars felt like it just needed a little bit more oomph. Now, I don't have access to the DIs, but we do have plenty of really well recorded guitar tracks here. I think, see, I was involved as an assistant engineer for this project little over a year ago. Kind of forgot what cabs and amps they use. I think it was a Marshall and maybe Hughes and Kettner. Got some nice selection of mics, 906 and some Royers and a bunch of other really cool stuff. Let's have a listen to Joe's guitar over here. I mean, it doesn't sound too bad. Let's see if we can juice it up a little bit. Let's do it guitar track by guitar track. Or rather, different guitar players. Kind of like that.
Red fairy lights stuck in my bedroom, keep my heart alive. Right, start a fight with the silence out the window, sunlight. Dark nights bring to light the truths and trials, but all the while the brain doesn't quite feel the same set of words again and again. Oh.
Listen to Isaac's guitar on the right side. Here's how it's already processed at the moment. Check the captator on it. Not too bad. That Type A on the decapitator, I believe, is based on a tape machine. Let's go substitute that out and try PreFire on it instead. So far, I like the Neve on it. The Neve, the Focusrite sounds good as well. It's just right for guitar. A lot of the other options, like the when you push it this far, the API, the B43, the germanium is just like a bit much. I think the way the clipping behavior sounds like you're just hard clipping like in your DAW, which I'm not a big fan of, but like earlier as we've shown, it worked better for drums. It just had the right kind of low end. Maybe better for transient-y type stuff. But for sustained kind of gain, it just struggles to be a bit musical. So maybe let's jump back into the Focusrite. I do like the way this sounds.
diagonal and the fruits entice you. Be stuck to the floor, but your intake doesn't drain it all, and you're so scared that you go nowhere. Change your.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good. Let's experiment with listening to this with and without PreFire on the guitars and bass on this section. Undoubtedly, there will be a bit of a gain jump, which I haven't methodically kind of offset to kind of make a good apples to apples comparison, but still worth having a listen through. See here. I had NLS channel on this. Oh, good lord. Okay, we're gonna leave the NLS there. I've listened to that acoustic guitar, see what we can do to it. You know what? It might help if I turn off the chorus on acoustic guitar so we can have a bit better judgment of what the preamp is doing. I'm going to stick with the TGI. It does sound pretty decent here.
And you don't know what you're trying for. Maybe try going diagonal and the fruits entice you. Be stuck to the floor, but your intake doesn't drain it all, and you're so scared that you go nowhere. Change your seats, jump off your hair, and I guess we've all been somewhere like that, 'cause it all goes down the way.
I reckon that sounds pretty good. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot for me to really learn and kind of get used to and get accustomed to kind of all the different flavors. There's definitely some favorites. I think to me, the Neve just works on a lot of stuff. It's probably the least offensive one, but neither is it too edgy. The API is a little less on the bottom end, but it's got that good kind of like forwardness to the sound. Now for like the universal, I feel like the universal is a little bit more situational. It sounds good in some materials, but the material has to be right to begin with to make it sound nice. The Vox box, I think, is just not for me, but I think one of the surprising ones that I am kind of impressed by is the Focusrite ISA flavor. So I'm definitely going to be using that a bit more often, along with the Neve and the TGI, which, it's TGI, I think it's just a bit of a hotter, slightly more mid-Z Neve overall. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. I'm still kind of getting used to the idea of making this, especially pre-planned, pre-recorded videos for you guys. And I do want to focus in and hone in on more kind of relevant, specific topics that you guys might be interested in terms of mixing, mastering, recording, and that those type things. Maybe even a little bit of producing, but I don't do that as often as I do mixing. Let me know what you guys think about this plugin. Is there something else you guys want to hear the plugins on? I do want to be a little less on kind of being salesy plugin review type of thing, because there's a billion people doing these type of videos, and I just want to make something that might be more interesting to you. Are there any types of genres you guys want to hear me work on, or any kind of other processing methods that I do use throughout my projects? Let me know in the comments. Yeah. Anyway, in case you didn't know, now you kind of know how the PreFire works, and I'll catch you guys another time. See ya.